Ahoy and howdy there, gamers. I am God-fearing Gator, and what this video is about, it's an introduction to who I am and what I'm about. So it all started in late 2014. I had a Twitch channel by the name of FL Gator Fan 777, and I started off streaming Madden Ultimate Team games. When I first started, I thought I could just generate viewers because I thought, man, it's so easy. You get all these viewers, you can get all of them. You just like, wow. Just start streaming and people will start watching. Which wasn't the reality of it. It was very false reality. But I was a kid, I didn't really know any better. I would do many broadcasts here and there. 2016 came along. I played so many Madden games. And I'd also play MLB The Show games. I even did MLB The Show 15 games where I broadcasted my franchise for the Rays or broadcasted postseason matches with the Rays. And I had my sliders turned all the way up. I had Ben Zobrist on my team. I had pretty much every Ray there. I put Ben Zobrist back on my team because I always thought of Ben Zobrist as a Tampa Bay Ray, and I always thought the Rays at some point can get back to him. But that was just my mind where it was because I was a big fan. And I had a series where I just broadcasting a whole lot of games in the postseason. And eventually I lost to the Cardinals because John Jay, or it was either John Jay or Colton Wong, they hit a 3-run shot off of me when I was pitching as Matt Moore, and they hit like a 3-run shot off of me, and I made it 6-2 in Game 6, and unfortunately, that was the way the cookie crumbled, as Jersey Born usually says. My love for content creation got started because of guys like Moonlight Swami, Jersey Born, and also I wasn't a big PewDiePie fan. I never really watched him. But my love for content creation came because I thought that it would be fun to do because it interested me. It was an interesting concept to me. Just because I thought, man, I can just get viewers and that's it. It was 2015. I was broadcasting a lot of Madden games. I'd make so many calls. It was with the Buccaneers franchise. Jameis Winston was the next big thing in my Buccaneers franchise. I'd have many different calls. And one of those calls in particular was where I was playing against the Rams. It was for an undefeated season. And it was a pretty big game because trying to keep the season going, trying to keep it an undefeated season, unfortunately didn't last. What happened is we were down like 31-7, and we came back and won that game. My voice turned to like Mick Hubert and Gene Deckerhoff mix. I had Charles Sims. He was like my number one running back behind Doug Martin. And after I scored a touchdown with Charles Sims in overtime, my call was, He's in! Touchdown! Tampa Bay Buccaneers! Oh my! The Buccaneers have won this game to keep their undefeated season alive! Oh my! Kept doing that in 2015. I kept going along with that. I kept making calls for games. I even did voices like Vern Lundquist caught over the middle. Brad Nessler, he throws it deep down left field. And caught! Touchdown! Buccaneers! Stuff like that. I imitated those broadcasters because I liked listening to Brad Nessler and I liked listening to Vern Lundquist because I would watch a lot of SEC football on Saturday, and Vern Lundquist was a very, very fun guy to listen to for me. Gary Danielson, not so much, but Vern Lundquist was a fun guy to listen to. I really enjoyed listening to Vern Lundquist. It was just absolutely a new thing for me. I didn't know at first what I was getting into because I thought it was just something I could do for fun. And you get viewers, and that's pretty much it. I'd be streaming all that stuff on my PlayStation 4, streaming so many games, making so many calls. One time in 2016, made so many calls one game had to do with the Buccaneers' undefeated season or something like that. It was that same exact season. I was playing against the Seahawks in the NFC Championship, as the Super Bowl was going to be held in Tampa, so I wanted to win that game and go back to Tampa for the Super Bowl, and that did not happen. I ended up losing that game, and I lost my voice in the process. My throat felt so horrible. It was absolutely awful. I was going to go to church. I was supposed to go to church the next day. I didn't end up going to church because my throat was really, really sore. But turns out I got sick. That was the reason why. And I was sick, I think, for like a week or maybe a week and maybe 2 weeks. It was not fun. That I will tell you. When 2017 came along, I streamed a bit more Diamond Dynasty. I streamed a bit more of that with MLB 17. And I did some broadcasting games for MLB The Show 17. I did a little bit more broadcasts here and there. Because I was thinking about trying to grow more by doing more content for MLB The Show 17. And it was a fun game. I did enjoy MLB The Show 17. Because what I did when MLB The Show 17 came out, I was doing a Reds franchise. I had quite a bit of fun with that. I had only one issue. I was using directional hitting most of the time in 2015. I didn't play MLB The Show 16, but I did get MLB The Show 17 the year after that. I was using zone. I only knew how to cover one part of the zone, and that was down and in. I didn't even know how to adjust. I didn't know how to do that stuff. I was always concerned if it's hit towards the middle in, I'm just gonna hit it. I'm gonna try to swing for it. Didn't really work all the time. Most of the time, I thought it was working. Really wasn't working all the time. There was one game though. It was in April, and this was when the Brewers started to appear to get better. And it was 2017. It was around late April to May. It was bottom of the eighth, 2 out. Billy Hamilton was on first. Joey Votto was at the plate with a 3-2 or 2-2 count. That was Jackie Robinson Day. Sitting there, I'm like, 3-2 ball game. And here comes Joey Votto. He can change his game with one pitch. And then, sure enough, the reliever, I think it was Knievel, throws a nice breaking ball. I get on top of it, and then clock. And then I'm like, he swings and drives one that is gone! Joey Votto! 2-run jack! And the Reds have a 1-run lead! Oh my goodness, Joey Votto. Can anybody stop this man? 3rd of the season. Another call I made, we were playing against the Giants, Brett Lawrie. I had Brett Lawrie on the Reds. What I did is I got a lot of free agents to put on the Reds, and I made them better. I even added Jake Peavy on the Reds. I did all of this stuff, tried to tinker with the roster to make it more competitive. It was the bottom half of the 9th, or was it either extra innings? But it was the last inning regardless, pretty much, because if we score, we win. So it was 2 outs. We had a runner on second. That, of course, was probably Billy Hamilton. And Brett Lawrie is at the plate. He hits one to left. And I'm like, swing and a base hit into left field. Reds are going to win the ball game. Reds win. Reds win. Reds win. Walk off. Base hit by Brett Lawrie. 2017, it was a fun time for me with stuff like that. I enjoyed doing a lot of content with that. When it came to Twitch and all that, it was a fun time for me to do that stuff. The only not fun thing about it is just you weren't generating enough viewers. I still didn't understand the algorithm, and I still didn't understand what to do. 2018 came along. I did a Cleveland Indians franchise. Didn't get a lot of viewers. I had fun doing them. But again, it was the viewer count that was bothering me, because it was always 0. It was either 0 or 1. I still didn't understand the whole viewership algorithm, the whole thing, how it worked. There was one game in particular, it was late August. We were playing against the Yankees. Francisco Lindor did not have a lot of home runs. He had maybe 3 or 4. I managed to get the bases loaded in the bottom half of the 9th against Aroldis Chapman, of all people, when he was pitching for the Yankees at the time in 2018. Here comes Francisco Lindor. Here's the first pitch. That's driven deep to left, and that is gone! Walk-off grand slam Francisco Lindor, and the Indians win it 6-5. Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness! Francisco Lindor, have yourself a night, young man. 2019 came along. Pretty much drop off happened at that time. The drop off started, I think, in late 2018, and then 2019 there was a drop off. I didn't stream as much. I didn't stream hardly anything. I spent most of my time in 2019 watching PewDiePie videos. PewDiePie became like one of my favorite YouTubers then. 2020, that's when I finally decided I wanted to get back into it. My name, like I said earlier, was FL Gator Fan 777. I had the Gator head and there. I had one picture that showed the Florida Gator logo as my profile picture. Figured that I eventually had to change it. It was going to cause copyright issues is what my concern was. What I did is I eventually changed the name to what it is now, and that is God-Fearing Gator. It was originally for a Politigram, because I was also doing a lot of political posting in 2019. And looking back on it, it got old really months I started doing it. It started to get really, really old. I was always focusing on triggering the libs, which is one of the most immature things I did. Keep it civil. That was one of my mottos. I'd post these really, I thought they were funny, and they could still be funny at times, but looking back on it, they're really, I'm not ashamed of them. I'm not mad at the fact that I did that. I could have been spending my time doing something better. I could have been doing content creation. Because I had this idea, I was like, well, I could become an influencer and be with these big conservative people or whatever. One of the dumbest mindsets that I ever had. 2020 came back along and God-Fearing Gator was born. I started off streaming Minecraft, Call of Duty Modern Warfare, stuff like that. And that worked for a bit. It did. Because I started to get a little bit more viewership. Sometimes maybe 7, maybe 5, 4, 3. I thought because you stream the oversaturated games, you eventually get viewers. It worked for a while, but at the same time, it wasn't working like it needed to. It worked for a while because I was also doing some networking here and there, talking about collabing with people. I never really ended up collabing with these people. All I was really trying to do was just grow. I could have been trying better ways to grow and not trying to network with people that I was never going to collab with. That's what I was doing. And it worked for a little bit. I was spending most of my time on streams looking for people to talk to, network with, and all that. And I collabed with some people, became good friends with some people, but some of the people I said I thought I'd collab with, we never ended up collabing. And I did reach out to some people, but unfortunately I didn't reach out to others, which was pretty bad on my part. When you say you want to collab and you don't do something like that, it kind of makes you look like a bad guy. That was not right of me at all, period. After 2021 came along, I still streamed here and there, and then it just sort of stopped. 2022, hardly anything. 2023, pop up here and there, hardly anything. 2024, same story. Because during this time, I was working a very stressful job that I was working on, where I would clean bathrooms and wear a respirator day in and day out. It was one of the most stressful jobs that I had in my life. And I worked for Lowe's. It was draining. It was very, very draining. I'd have times where I'm like, I'm going to get content creation. I'm going to get back to it. I want to get back to it eventually. Or I'd just sit here in my room. I'd come home, do nothing but come in here, relax me, play video games, go back to work the next day, do the same thing all over again the next day. When 2022 came along, it was do that, go to work, come home, watch anime. Because now I watch anime. And I didn't think I'd ever be watching anime. But now, because if you would have told me 7 years ago, 6 years ago, hey, you're going to start watching anime, I'm like, no, you're crazy. That stuff is weird. But it's not. It's actually very fun. But aside from the point, I would have been doing bathrooms for 4 years had I finished this year. But thankfully, the good Lord pulled me out of there. I didn't need to be there. I did. And I'm glad that I'm now able to embark on this new chapter. I got my room cleaned because it looked like a mess. There's so much I can do now compared to then. I came back this past Friday and built 13 anime figures. And that's only the start of what we're doing. We're doing more fun stuff. I got the whiteboard here. We're going to do another stream with that. I'm going to hook up Hot Wheel tracks in this room. I'm going to do a lot more fun stuff. Because one thing you have to do as a streamer, and I know it now, thanks to Harris Heller, who is someone I kind of admire for his tips on streaming. I think there was another one. I forgot his name. He basically pointed out you have to make yourself stand out from the rest. You can't sit here and play video games all the time. You have to make yourself stand out from others. And you have to do one thing better than others constantly. You've got to make yourself stand out. And if you do that one thing where you're constantly making yourself stand out, then you're in good shape. That's what you want to do. You want to stand out from others to eventually have people watching you. That's the goal here, to eventually reach partner with this channel. That is the goal. This channel was also a mission statement to eventually reach these big streamers about Christ, teach others, and to show them who Christ is. We have to do that in a loving way. And I feel that many people have lost that idea of doing so, and that's why you have so many people hurt by that. And they lash out at Christian content creators because you've had people hurt them in the past with hateful rhetorics, telling them they're going to hell for having long hair. They're going to hell for wearing pants. Just examples of stuff I'm spouting off. You have to treat many people with love and respect and caremanship as Christ would. And you can't hate them. You got to love them and go up to them. You got to hug them. That's what you want to do. So my ultimate goal here at God-Fearing Gator with this channel is to eventually reach into that circle of content creation and to bring people to Christ. Love to have many conversations with these people about Jesus. I think that would be awesome. And that would be fun. Because the other ultimate goal here is we want to have fun doing things. We also want to stick out from the others, not by being a typical streamer who has a foul mouth. When you go to the average Twitch streamer stream, they're cursing. They might say the Lord's name in vain. They might do all that. And I don't put any of that all on them. I don't do that at all. Because I happen to watch those streamers who do that. I enjoy watching those streamers who do that. I watch those streamers. I do. I watch those streamers because I enjoy them. Not for the cursing and all that, but because they're entertaining. And that's mainly why many of these big streamers stick out, is because they do many fun things to entertain. SQC has his amazing crash outs. Ludwig has some funny crash outs every now and then. He does his best to stick out from the rest. And that's what many of these creators do. And that's why you have to admire them. And it just seems like such a fun job to do, is get into content creation. And that's what I want to do. I eventually want to do this full time. That's pretty much it here. Y'all have a good one. And as always, take care and God bless.